And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Sports. We are set to talk some playoff football as well as the beginning of the Lightning season. This is going to be a wild couple weeks here in Tampa Bay sports, and my name is Eureka, but I am not alone. In fact, I am joined by two other diehard Tampa Bay sports fans. First, let me introduce Musaab. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Just another great day in Tampa Bay. But been busy after the holidays, but with our last game kind of definitely sealing us with the fifth seed in the playoffs. I'm excited now. It's time to head over to the Super Bowl and win this thing.
There we go. And also with us for the second week in a row, we've got Chris. What's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. Enjoying this beautiful day in Tampa Bay and ready for the Bucs to beat the Skins.
You know, it's been really all I think we've been thinking about as Bucs fans for probably 3 weeks now is playoffs. And while we were waiting for kind of everything to really shake out on where we were going to be, it's now time. It is finally playoff time. We haven't been able to say that in a very, very long time. But this Saturday, and unfortunately it is a prime time game, and I'm sure Musaab will have something to say about that. But this Saturday at 8:15, your 11-5 Buccaneers are going on the road to play the 7-9 football team from Washington. The good thing, as we go through the numbers here, before I throw it to you, Musaab, the Bucs are 6-2 on the road this year. The football team from Washington, they have not been so good at home. They've only won 3 out of their 8 home games this year. Coming into this game, the Bucs are an 8-point favorite as the quote-unquote road team. But with their COVID restrictions and things like that, it's way more of a level playing field. Home, away hasn't really mattered that much. What has mattered is what these teams look like coming into this game. Washington, over the last 4 games, they last week, of course, they did win over Philadelphia, with the Eagles famously tanking the fourth quarter. So that was what kind of gave them the victory and gave them this playoff spot. But before that, they had a 7-point loss to the Carolina Panthers, who we are very familiar with. They had a 5-point loss to the Seattle Seahawks, and their last win that they had was a 23-15 win over the San Francisco 49ers, where 2 of those touchdowns came from defensive scores. Overall, Washington hasn't really looked like a world-beating team. They do have an overall losing record in that abomination of an NFC East division. And now they have to play Tampa Bay, who over the last 4 games has outscored opponents 148-75. Now, the one drawback, I guess, is that Tampa hasn't played true playoff competition in over a month. And so the question would be, how would they look? However, over the last 4 games, they've done, or at least the last 3 games, they've done what they were supposed to do, which is handle a lesser opponent. Since the second half of that Atlanta game 3 weeks ago, they have looked like the team we expected them to come out of the gate. They mollywopped Atlanta in the second half. They blew out Detroit. Now, of course, Detroit had their whole coaching staff and starting quarterback out. But nonetheless, they held them to 7 points, and then they followed that up with another shellacking of the Falcons. Musaab, with all that said, with all those numbers, what do you see as kind of the key points coming into this playoff matchup?
Well, the first thing I think when it comes to the key point that I've seen, especially with these last few games with the Buccaneers, is that they're looking a lot more confident, especially offensively. They've got a grasp of what they're doing offensively. I'm not seeing that much punting anymore, especially in the second half. And I'm gonna say, that last game was real nice, especially the ending. With us racking up 21 points just in the fourth quarter, and Atlanta's a quality football team, and without those turnovers, it probably would have been a closer game. They're a solid team. Minnesota's also a solid team. So the thing is, those games are good. They all mattered, especially that one with the Lions that we easily won and kind of sealed us to go to the playoffs. I just think that the other key point is I think the big thing, Eureka and Chris, is we are in a rhythm now. That's really what it is. Everything's kind of clicking together. We're looking real good. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say we're perfect. We still have little things we might have to tweak. And now, is it something that's worrisome against the Washington football team? I don't think so. What I see when it comes to kind of strengths, the two key strengths, or the key strength and the key weakness for Tampa Bay is, well, first of all, the weakness is opponents outscore the Buccaneers, 188 in just the first quarter. So I'm kind of thinking, do the Bucs run too often at the start of games? Does head coach Bruce Arians ask Brady to do things Brady cannot do? Is that what it is? Or do the pass rushers kind of commit to penalties while trying to cover for an inexperienced secondary? Those are kind of the questions that are at the top of my head when we're not playing hot, because those look like the reasons to me that we're not starting out hot or just not really having a good game. Whatever the issue, the slow starts caused real problems in the past against opponents, especially like a team from New Orleans, the Saints. But on the other hand, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' greatest strength, Mike Evans, Godwin, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, it's like putting, all these great guys, they've all had their great games, and now you're putting them, against every opposing defense in a bind, and Brady remains capable of finding the best matchups out of all those guys out there. Brady also doesn't know that, I think Brady knows that, he doesn't necessarily have to complete every pass when someone like Evans or Godwin has a defender's number. The way, just kind of put it in numbers, Brady's receivers drew 20 pass interference penalties for 362 yards just entering Week 17, which is kind of a high figure in the NFL. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at ahead. And then I guess another key point going into the playoffs is, all right, well, this is the playoffs now. I want to kind of look at it this way, that the teams we're going to go against, regardless of, be the first round, second round, the next round, it doesn't matter. All these guys that are now in the playoffs, their offenses are all different. So that's something we're just going to have to pick up on and, get a little aware of. But some teams we've already played before. But the big thing I'm looking at is all these teams now, their defense is looking real hot. And one defense that's looking real hot is the one that we're going against. From the Washington football team. The defensive front, to me, the defensive front seven to me is their only strength. Honestly, Washington has been ranked second in both pass defense and overall defense entering Week 17. They've been known for that, and it's all due to people like Chase Young and Montez Sweat's ability to impact the both and run passing games, as well as Darren Payne and Jonathan Allen's ability to collapse pockets and cause disruption in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. I that D line is their key to victory. I mean, Chase Young, he's famously got excited after winning and knowing they're going to play the Bucs, saying, "Okay, I want Tom Brady," and he has 7.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles, including a key one last week. Montez Sweat with 9 sacks, and the other guys, Allen and Payne, that you brought up. I mean, these are former first-round picks that are cashing in on that front four. Kind of looking, how do you think Tampa's going to be able to kind of neutralize that front four?
The way I see it is, they're just going to have to play maybe a little maybe a little risky and kind of get a feel of what the game's like, especially in the first quarter. And I'm not saying this is an excuse to have a slow start by just kind of maybe getting a feel for this, how their defense is. It's more kind of understanding. All right, well, this is how they're playing. These are the kind of things they're kind of doing to us. We got to pick up on that like immediately. As mentioned before, this is the Washington football team's only really big strength. Their defensive front seven. So if we take advantage of that, we kind of we play smart. That's the only thing I guess I'm a little worried about is how is our O-line going to step up, because to me the most important people in this game, at least I'm going to say for the first and second quarter, I'm going to be really looking out for them is actually the O-line. I'm going to see, all right, well, these guys, they got these guys protecting Brady, because it can kind of go downhill. These Chase Young and Montez Sweat, these guys are some big dogs. They're real good. They're aggressive. They're getting their sacks in so far this season. Their whole team has gathered 47 sacks this whole season. So they're a hot team when it comes to that, stuff like that. So that's something we're just gonna have to get a feel for a little bit. And as I also mentioned before, the fact that we have many guys, Mike Evans, who was injured on Sunday, this past Sunday, but early reports are a little more encouraging. We got Godwin, Gronkowski, and Brown, Miller. I'm even looking at Keyshawn Vaughn, Fournette. If Ronald Jones is looking good. I know he's got a little finger injury right now. So we just have, we got so many weapons, Yurika and Chris, that it may take us a few minutes or a few, hopefully not too many, but maybe a couple possessions to really get a feel of, all right, well, which kind of offense, kind of squad or offensive, maybe duos are really kind of working against their defense. But at the end, it really, again, just comes down to O-line. How much time is Tom Brady getting to, kind of make the smart throws rather than being rushed and pressured? Because, when Tom Brady gets pressured, their whole offense kind of slips and falls a lot.
Chris, I was going to bring you in here. Brady's been cooking. Tom Brady, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and when he's doing well, this offense has been on all. They've been on fire. So I would say, how do you think Brady's looking coming into the playoffs, and is he going to try to rely on maybe Gronkowski, person that he knows so much, or is he going to spread the ball out against this Washington defense?
He's looking really good, man. I mean, he's clicking at the right time. His accuracy's on point. He still got the deep ball clearly. He's reading his routes for his receivers very well. He's definitely getting in the groove at the right time. It's going to be important for a fast start. I think you got to run the ball a lot. I think we got to try to get Rojo going. Even if Fournette has to get a couple carries in there just to take a couple hits, show the D-line that we're not messing around. Push them around a little bit. We don't want to get bullied around by those guys, and you don't want Tom facing pressure all day. I think that's going to be the biggest key. Obviously, is 5-on-5. Hopefully, we don't. I mean, we're going to have to see how we do 5-on-5, and then if we have to get a little more protection in there, I'm sure we'll make adjustments. But yeah, I mean, Brady's looking really, really good right now, and I think he's going to keep it up. I think he's going to continue to spread the ball around as long as he's got that time. I think the time is keep getting him the time is the most important.
And Musaab, Chris brings up a good point about running the ball. Is there a way? Is that a weakness for that front seven? I know they've been keyed in on that passing defense, but is there an opportunity for the Bucs to feed into that kind of early ground game that they like to play into?
I think so. We've done it before against good teams with good defenses. So it's not a huge worry. It just depends on, first of all, who's getting a lot of the carries, and second of all, who's really making the best opportunities out of them. We got some smart running backs, especially Fournette, Ronald Jones, and I wouldn't even mind seeing Keyshawn Vaughn get some reps in as well.
Yeah, you're big on Vaughn.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, listen, man. He's a rookie, and I got high hopes for him. I was kind of like want to support the young guys to see kind of rooting for them, hoping they kind of get their chance to shine as well. Not that I want anyone to kind of even take Jones or Fournette's spotlight. It's just that, hey, at the end of the day, the way I see it right now, Yurika, is if there's only one guy if I have to feed to the whole game, it's going to be Ronald Jones right now, But if someone else performs better like Vaughn or Fournette, so I'm not going to mind. But I just feel like every game, Yurika, there's going to be that one running back that even in the beginning of the game, we're gonna see, all right, well, they're kind of getting hot, all right, well, we're gonna we might have to count on them to do real well, or something happens later in the second or third quarter that we realize, okay, well, maybe this is actually working out better for us, as in maybe a different running back. The fact that we got we got a good lineup and a good depth chart of our running backs. I think, again, we're just going to be able to utilize these different weapons. I guess the two key things when it comes to this Washington football team, Tampa Bay Bucs face-off is the offensive weapons, hopefully that, they all kind of click together as they have been these last few games, versus, that defensive front seven of the Washington football team. That's where it's really going to come down to. I don't really have. Obviously, I'm going to be paying attention throughout the whole game, but I'm not going to be really kind of, my eyes aren't going to be glued to, Washington's offense versus defense. Yes, I will, but I'll be looking at it a little differently, more as in, I trust our defenders. We've been real hot. I mean, look, we got Devin White, who's 5th ranked right now in the whole league total with 140 tackles. Brady's been already really hot, but when it comes to sacks, White's got 9, and Jason Pierre-Paul's been real hot, and the Commandant Sue, and then Levante David, who's been kind of working well with D. White, kind of getting those tackles together, sacks together, stuff like that. So the way they're playing right now, if they continue to play like that, which I assume and hope they will when it comes to the defense, my eyes are just going to be anxiously on our offense led by the GOAT Brady versus their defensive front seven. They got some solid secondary, but my eyes are just going to be on, all right, well, is Bruce Arians, Leftwich, these guys picking up on how our O-line is, responding to their defense, / are we giving Tom Brady time, / are we running the right routes, and are we looking at the right guy to put on the field? Those are just I think the few key things to really look out for this upcoming game / this upcoming the rest of the playoffs. I think those are the things that we're good at, and / we've had issues with in the past. So that's really kind of all I really have just for that preview of just what to really look out for. But I guess there are some things that I'm hoping will happen, which kind of just leads to me going into my bold predictions. My first one being that I think Tom Brady will be throwing at least 3 touchdowns. Okay. The Buccaneers didn't have a running game this season compared to a lot of other teams. Instead of relying on the 43-year-old Brady instead they've been relying on the 43-year-old Brady to lead a high-powered passing attack. Tampa Bay Bucs have scored about 31 points per game, which is number 2 in the NFL, right behind the second-ranked passing offense, and with the only almighty real hot looking Kansas City Chiefs, who are ranking higher in terms of passing yards. And, I mean, look at this. In addition to his 40 touchdown passes, Eureka and Chris, Brady threw for 4,600 yards. And that's because, he's got weapons like Evans, Brown, Godwin, Gronkowski. So, that's the really good part that I like about our offense is, we got Brady has no shortage of options when running this dynamite offense, And the second thing was, I think Mike Evans may play a limited role in the offense for this upcoming game. He was recently seen active in practice after injuring his knee this past Sunday. So it looks like there is a chance he will be able to play, but just how much will Evan play if he goes? I'm sure Brady would prefer Evans to be out there as much as possible as another top target for him. However, keeping Evans safe should be a priority for Arians and the Bucs. The prediction for me right here is that Evan will suit up. He's going to be active, but he may play a limited role. I think he'll get those reps in where you deep down you need a guy like Evans to be on the field right now. The hope then is that Evans will be able to play more as Tampa Bay goes deeper in the playoffs. Though obviously nothing is guaranteed. Just the fact that it's the playoffs now, and we're playing some good teams. And then my third one is I think Gronkowski's gonna do some damage, and he's gonna be definitely a good role player / maybe even a key player. All right, he's always been one of Tom Brady's favorite offensive targets. Earlier this season, Gronk recognized his role as a blocker and an individual who opens the offense for Brady to lead his offense down the field. Gronk caught his first touchdown pass in the 6th game of the season, with Brady targeting him anywhere from 1 to 7 times in the games leading up to his first touchdown. So he's getting those reps in as well. It's not like he's just getting lucky. However, the NFL has seen a different Gronk in the second half of the season. He caught 6 touchdowns after his first touchdown against the Green Bay Packers, along with being targeted more consistently by Brady. Gronk has started to be a red zone target against Washington, as his chemistry with Brady may prove to be overwhelming, to the Washington football team's defense. And then my last point, I guess, is I think the Bucs are gonna beat the Washington football team by at least 10 points, ideally more. But I'm going to say at least 10, with Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin reeling in our 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games of the NFL regular season. The Bucs are going into the first round of the playoffs with a lot more momentum. Winning the last 4 games of the regular season had to serve as a morale boost for the Bucs, and especially their offense. And their defense will need to step it up and stop Alex Smith's offensive attack. But if everybody plays their role on the defensive end, it will alleviate pressure on the offensive end and allow Brady to play his game. I guess the one thing that I always mentioned before, just when one team, whether it be us or teams we played in the past, when they get a lot more time with the possession on offense than us, it really shows why. Because they're exhausting our defense. I guess they're giving our offensive time, but then when it becomes a little too long, our offense kind of gets a little they start sitting down, maybe not really moving much. It gets a little, the way I see it, the body gets a little stiff. But then for our good games, Eureka and Chris, we exhaust their, opponent's defense, but we also give our defense a rest. We've had those moments, and we've had games where we kind of go for some quick drives to the end zone, but a lot of the times when I see it is we are really grinding it out yard by yard. We're not just running down the field after 2 plays. We're pushing it. We're getting a few downs, then a first down, a few downs, a first down, maybe another first down, and maybe more few downs until we get to the red zone, and we'll get a nice good pass or run in. So that's something just to really look out for is. When the Bucs do get their possession on offense, they got to make use of it, and they got to be smart. They got to be smart now. It's not really time to really get a feel of things. It's been 16 or 17 weeks now. Okay, we should have a nice solid game plan. Definitely some maybe backup ideas as well. And I think we should definitely have some backup ideas just because we have a nice variety of offensive weapons, and we got a nice variety of defensive weapons as well. And I do want to mention that I think our defense will step it up because, and even if they don't, I don't think they. I think that's only going to happen just for like maybe the first or second quarter max. I see Washington football team's biggest weakness is their offense a little bit. I mean, look, they got guys like Antonio Gibson and Peyton Barber who've been pretty good, and I'm sure we can definitely stop those guys just with what the defenders we have like D. White, David, Jason Pierre-Paul, and the Commandant Sui. We got some other guys, but listen, look, Alex Smith has averaged 5 intended air yards per throw entering Week 17, the lowest figure by far in the NFL, and then Jimmy Garoppolo is second at 6.2 yards. So now I mean, just imagine this: a quarterback whose average throw is like 4 feet shorter than an average Garoppolo throw, and that gives you a pretty clear picture of the Washington offense. I'm not trying to say that they're just complete trash or just complete baloney. I mean, we if you haven't heard already, Bruce Arians kind of made that really, I guess, key or powerful or kind of popular statement where he said, we don't see them as a 7-9 team. We see them as a 4-1. Where they're actually technically 5-1 under Alex Smith. But he says we see them as a 4-1 team because every time Alex Smith has played, they went 4-1 and had a +3 turnover margin. All right, and it's different when it's a different team when Alex is playing, and we know that kind of saying that 7-9 team is because of Haskins and Alex Smith kind of combined together, but just Alex Smith, I mean, they're 5-1 right now, so he has a point, he really does, but then again, I'm thinking about what kind of opponents have they played in the past, and they've had their close games as well. It's not like they're kind of just blowing by everybody when Alex Smith is their quarterback. So I don't see them being a big threat on the offense. It's just really just making sure. I kind of see their offense like the first game against the Falcons. I think they might get some good opportunities, but in the end, I think maybe after one quarter, once we get a real feel of how their offense is running, we're gonna turn on the turbo and make sure they don't get any extra yards or they don't really get anything. Once we kind of got an idea.
Yeah. Now I was gonna say you did bring up some points about the Washington offense. Chris, do you see any kind of kind of cracks in the armor that maybe Alex Smith can exploit against the Buccaneers this week?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Devin White being out. We're going to miss White for sure. It's unfortunate. Minter's going to have to fill in, and I from what I heard, he didn't play too bad last week. Yeah, I mean, they got Terry McLaurin outside. He's a speedster guy. We covered a struggle the speedster guys. We don't have the fastest secondary in the world. Winfield's still young. He's still learning the game. He's played absolutely great, though. Davis, I don't know. Davis one-on-one with McLaurin, I think you're going to have safety over top for sure. They also got, Logan Thomas at tight end. He's played pretty well the past couple games to end the season. So, I mean, there's definitely some exploits. We're going to have to definitely get pressure. I think if we get pressure on Smith, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, now, the one thing, though, and Musaab, you brought up a good point about, this is a different team under Alex Smith than it was, under Haskins, okay? But with all that said, it isn't like they're putting 100 points on the board every game. I mean, in my opinion, they should have lost last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. If Philadelphia didn't completely turn off the Jets and bench Jalen Hurts.
Was obvious.
But even before that, I mean, yeah, they lost and they were close losses, but to be be real, I think you hit the nail on the head when you say their defense is what drives them. And this offense, even with Alex Smith, I mean, they're put up 13 points against Carolina, 15 points against Seattle, 15 points against 23 points in a victory. What do you think the final score is going to be? I know you think the Bucs are going to win by 10. Where do you think that score is going to end up being in this game?
I'm thinking 27-17 Bucs win. That's what I think a little more realistically. But if I'm gonna say though that if the Bucs are looking real hot just within the first quarter, I'm gonna bump that up. I'm gonna bump that up to 31. I'm gonna bump that up to 31, at least 31-17. I'm gonna say 30. Yeah. So if we're looking hot, I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna lock it in. I'm thinking, I don't know, something, these past few games, Eureka and Chris, we've done a solid job in the start, and for that reason, I'm kind of thinking, this could be a really good game for us, honestly, if we play smart. It's just, being the Bucs who they are, it's just sometimes their starts are just a mystery. I think we all know that their starts are a mystery. They've been known for the slow starts, but these last few games they've been looking pretty solid to pretty good in the first, second quarter. So if the Redskins if the Washington football team can put up a fight, I'm gonna say 27-17. But if we're looking real good, if we're playing like we played in these last few weeks, I'm gonna change my 31 to 34-17. That's what I'm gonna do.
Now, Chris, did you have any thought about a final score?
We definitely should win, but
yeah, okay.
I've seen crazier things happen. We do play down to our opponents sometimes. So I think if we protect Brady, I think we can put up 31. I'm gonna say 31-13 if we protect Brady. If we can't protect Brady, I think you're gonna look at a low scoring game, maybe like a 16-13, 2017, something like that.
Yeah, I mean these guys have definitely been dragging some of these scores in the mud. I mean, now the good thing is the Bucs literally they do have a very high powered, fast scoring offense. The game plan I would guess is that you want to disrupt Brady while he's on the field, and then when you have the ball, you want to have as long of a drive as you can. And the Bucs have given up multiple third down conversions on drives, fourth down conversions on drives. They have allowed teams to kind of bleed that clock and have these 12, 13, 14 play drives. If there is a key to victory or a path to victory, I guess that would be what I think Alex Smith and Ron Rivera are thinking. But Chris, I'm with you a little bit about like it could be a kind of a very low scoring game. My prediction is 24-17 Buccaneers. As much as if we were to score 31 points. It would have been the first time since what was it? The Lions beating them over 7 weeks ago that they gave up 30 points to a team. Other than that, they've only given up about 20 points a game. So I think this will be a little more ugly than we hope it will be. I think the Bucs are absolutely gonna bring it out, and I don't think that 17 gets to be that high for the football team until towards the end of the game. I think maybe they score in the end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter, just to kind of bring it within one score. But at that point, the game kind of wouldn't have been it would have been decided before they scored that 17th point. So
almost like a garbage time TD.
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
Kind of. I mean, that's really I've said that a couple weeks in a row now, probably, but that's really what I think. This defense, when it's go time, coming out of halftime, especially, it's like they clamp down. This Bucs defense clamps down. If there's a slow start, I think that the difference between scoring 24 points and scoring 34 points is what Musaab's been saying about these slow starts, and are we running the ball too much and not really getting anything out of it, and the games where we do score early and often, and that passing attack is killing it from the beginning. Now all of a sudden, Washington does not have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with a fully operational Tom Brady offense. So I think it'll be a little more knockout, drag down fight. But at the end of the day, the Bucs probably won't cover the point spread of 8, but they will win the game, and that is the most important thing. So with all that said, we've got one playoff matchup for the Buccaneers, and hopefully we go all the way to our own home stadium. That is where Super Bowl will be played this year. No team has ever defended their own home turf in the Super Bowl, but a few teams have played home playoff games on the road to the Super Bowl. We here at RBLR Sports all think the Bucs are going to win. We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about another team that won and went all the way, and that is our Tampa Bay Lightning. The wait is over. It might feel like they won the Stanley Cup the other day, but guess what? It's a brand new season, and Chris, we're going to go through kind of a little preview of what he expects the Lightning, how they're going to start out of the gate. So we will have all that and more after the break. Welcome back into RBLR Sports. Let's talk some ice time, baby. Let's talk about our Tampa Bay Lightning. The Bolts are back. Chris, I gotta ask you, as we look ahead, this is going to be a different season for sure. With the realignment and everything that's going on in the NHL, where do we have the Lightning stacking up in the Discover NHL Central Division?
I think we're still on top. I got a lot of confidence in the team. We got a lot of guys returning. I think it's going to be different, obviously. I think our talent's still there. You know, our guys are still here. Our system's still in place. So, I mean, we went out. We got rid of Coburn. Obviously, we lost Coburn, Shattenkirk, Paquette. Coburn didn't play much last year. I don't see a big impact on him. Obviously, like I said last week, I think I'm going to miss Paquette the most. I think he was a good grinder on that fourth line. I think we're going to be, we're defending champs. I think we're going to come out and defend the title and have a good season. Like I said last week, I'm thinking 30, 35 wins with a short season. And that's just me talking, I mean, who knows? We could start off 0-10, It's crazier things have happened, I do see a slow start to the season, though. I saw that the little scrimmage yesterday was a little sloppy, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with missing Cooch, obviously, getting the lines realigned and, working around him being out. That's gonna be tough. So I could see a slow start, maybe a little slump in the beginning. We might hover around 500 for the first 10 games. Sit at 5-5, something like that. And then maybe we'll start picking it up, start clicking. Once all the lines get going together and gelling together. And like I said, we really didn't lose many guys, but replacing Cooch is obviously a big key factor in that.
I was gonna say, if you had to say, all right, we know, the Lightning are going to be the top. Okay, what do you think the story would have been? Maybe 3 or 4 things you think that went right for the Lightning for them to be number one in our division going into the playoffs.
3 or 4 things that went right, like with the team right now.
Whatever. Yeah. If you would have said, okay, like if we fast forward to the beginning of the playoffs, and you say, all right, we are number one. We won, 30, 40 games. We're just on top. We're number one. What do you think would have been the 2 or 3 things like say Stammer had 100-something points, or things like that. What do you think? If everything goes right and well, what do you think the big stories are?
I think towards the end of the season, is that what you're asking, or like going?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Like if we were writing a recap, I'm just saying prognosticating in our what do you call them? The magic. Look in your crystal ball, right? What do you think the headlines are saying as we go into the playoffs?
I think Vasi has another really good year. I think he's probably the main key to our team besides Cooch. His goals against last year was 2.56, which is great. He only had 3 shutouts, but I mean, you see the saves that he makes, and you're just like, wow, like it's stuff you'd see from Martin Brodeur or Joe Sakic, but look how young Vasi is, and he's playing phenomenal already. So I think he's going to be a really, really big key. Him staying healthy, the defense does need to block more shots. We've seen games where we've given up 40, 50 shots, and we're all yelling at the TV going, what's going on? Somebody block a shot. Somebody do something. There's a lot of times where our defense allows opposing teams forechecks to sit in our zone for 2 or 3 minute shifts, and we're watching our guys die out there. You got to get the ice change. You got to clear the puck. So I do think that has to improve. But I think Vasi at the end of the season is definitely going to be probably I don't want to say our main reason for where we're at, but a huge key piece to us getting into the playoffs. And then I would have to say, obviously, I think you're going to have that dark horse that's going to kind of step in for Cooch, which I do think, like I said, I think as long as there's no trade for Palat, I think Palat has an underrated, very good year that people don't see happening. And I think Cirelli steps up also to have another solid year because he got re-signed. He's due. We've seen what Cirelli's capable of. We've seen his penalty kill be huge. He creates a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone during PKs, which is huge. I think he's going to play that little role under there where he might have 20 goals if he's like maybe 15, but I think he's going to contribute more than just the goals. I think the PK is huge. I think we need to have a better PK overall. I've seen the PK's too up and down sometimes. We finished at 81% last year, which was 14th in the league, so middle of the pack. But I would expect better from us, top 5 PK with the players we have, obviously Hedman. But yeah, I think Cirelli, and between Cirelli and Palat, I think they're going to be a dark horse. I think Killorn can have another solid season. I don't know if Killorn will have the season he had last year, but I see. I'm going to roll with Palat and Cirelli as the 2 dark horses, and then obviously Vasi having another really, really good year.
Now, other than Vasi and Palat and Cirelli being your dark horses, you have brought up some kind of question marks already about like the defense being able to block shots and of course improving the penalty kill. What do you think? Is there going to be a bigger influence than maybe we're thinking and talking about after losing a defenseman like Kevin Shattenkirk? Yeah.
I honestly, I wasn't a fan of Shattenkirk. I wasn't. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
I seen some cement skates coming from him a couple games. He had that leadership, but I don't think he ever played that role that I thought he would. I just wasn't impressed by him. I think Ruta's going to have a bigger role this year. He had a lot of people doubted Ruta when we signed him, but he didn't play bad. He didn't really have bad games. He had a couple here and there, but once he got going in our system, he wasn't playing bad. Obviously, like I said, you got Hedman there. We're gonna hopefully see Cal Foote this year finally. He's got to have a good year. He's we've heard a lot about him on the crunch, and it's his time to come up and play some D for us. Obviously we still got McDonough too. So I think, like I said, I think we definitely have to block more shots. You can't sit here and let Vasi take 30, 40 shots a game, 50 shots at some points. So like I said, we're all getting frustrated yelling at the TV. But I think that the defense is going to be an improvement, even with us losing Shad, Kirk, and Coburn. I think the defense will improve.
Now, you mentioned Cal Foote, who he is a defenseman, right? There's another young guy, Alex Barr-Boulay, that he plays a forward position. He's a center, but do you think maybe he's going to get some ice time here in the beginning of the year?
I do. I could see him. I could see him playing. You know, he was added to the training camp roster. He was added along with Jamel Smith, Witkowski, Joseph, Cal Foote. I think he's gonna get some time in there. I don't know about once. It's gonna depend. If Cooch comes back and the lines are gonna get all mixed up again during playoffs, it's gonna really depend on how he plays during the season. I think he'll rotate in. I don't think he'll be playing major minutes in the beginning, but I think he'll come in, and I think he'll have a sneaky little impact in there. The Lightning usually know what they're doing with those kind of guys. We're really good at developing and signing and trading and making moves that need to be made. So I think he'll come in and he'll slowly have an impact. But I think overall, I think he'll have a decent season.
Now, kind of looking at the beginning of the season here, you did kind of talk about in this shortened season. You kind of thought maybe they might start off slow. Now, do you think that's going to be maybe a league-wide problem, or is there some kind of effect that the Lightning might be able to kind of overcome being no preseason this year?
It could be league-wide. It could be. I'm just thinking Lightning Stanley Cup hangover type deal. You know, we're maybe a little, I don't want to say a little cocky, but, you know, we're going out there like, all right, we won the cup, you know, you know, it's 15 games in the season. It's time to start playing, boys. You know, maybe I don't know that it could be it could be better for us. You know, we played deeper into the season than any team besides Dallas. You know, maybe we'll be ready to go. You know, all these other teams have had a lot more time off. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. We've seen the Lightning where we've come back from the bye week and we don't play well. And then when we have 4 or 5 game stretches, there's times where we're winning 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row, and you're like, wow, this team's unbeatable. And then we have a game off, and we come back, or day off, 2 days off, we come back, and we look like, you know, an AHL team. So it's up in the air, but I think it's going to be a little slow start. But I'm not saying it could hurt us, because I do still think we make the playoffs, obviously, and, you know, put up major numbers offensive wise. I think we're going to have a high scoring team. So yeah, I mean, it could be, I do see a little slow start in the beginning, and it could be league wide too. Obviously all these teams are going through the same thing. Different opponents, you know, it's going to be a weird year. So it could be league wide also.
Yeah. Do you think there's any maybe the continuity? You did talk about, like, you know, they did just win the Stanley Cup, and they're bringing back the majority of that team. Maybe you're adding Stamkos that you didn't have for the whole playoffs, other than, you know, the epic Stanley Cup game that he had. But is there maybe the Lightning? Is there a possibility they start very fast because of the continuity that they're bringing over?
Yeah, we could start 10-0, you know, and Stamkos could have 75 goals. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, it's possible with the talent we have. Absolutely. We could come out here and just, you know, average 4.3 goals a game, you know, and just light teams up and beat the living crap out of them. That's absolutely possible. With the team we have, absolutely. I just know that there's times when teams, you know, they win the championship and they're kind of get a little, you know, coming into the season, we're just kind of, you know, moseying on in. So I think that, yeah, absolutely, you could come out and dominate if need be, if that's what we have to do. And obviously, like I said, playing different teams this year, it's going to be different. You know, playing the same teams, you know, 7 times for the year, you know, it's going to be weird. I expect very weird things this year, but I think it's going to be a good season.
Yeah. Now, Musaab, I wanted to ask you, overall kind of expectations for the Lightning as we're getting started here in this new season?
Overall expectations, I guess just a little bit of what just Chris mentioned. Obviously, I do share the same kind of view as in I think Palat and Cirelli are going to step up a little bit, take over kind of Kucherov's absence. But I think Braden Point is going to be that guy as well. I think it's going to be that trio. I think Braden Point's going to probably have a little better season than those guys. But I think Cirelli and Palat are going to be right behind him, kind of, helping the team overall as well. Expectations, though, Chris makes a lot of sense with kind of just that whole, that post-Stanley Cup kind of feeling, or, kind of coming to the season a little more relaxed or something like that, or maybe, maybe just kind of having a little, less aggressive mentality. I mean, obviously, when the season starts and you're kind of, defending, the cup, it's not something at the top of your mind that, everyone's kind of after us right now. It's kind of just like, all right, well, hey, let's just see how the season goes. We ought to be good if we won the cup last year. Obviously, we got some different players. We got rid of some players as well. But expectations are just, take advantage of the fact that, this upcoming season's schedule is a lot different than it's ever been. The fact that we're literally playing just a few teams over and over again. Take advantage of that. Expectations are being the good team we are and being the defending champs that, we're gonna be prepared to play these teams over and over again. And, when the time comes that, we're gonna have to play these teams for maybe, the playoffs or even in the playoffs, that we already know these teams, front and back. So we're not too worried. But obviously, I mean, I'm also not just expecting a perfect season from the Lightning either. I know that they're going to have their little speed bumps, or little hiccups, if that's what you want to call it as well, throughout the season. But expectations, at least as of right now for the beginning of the season, is just to get a feel, play hard, play aggressive. Get some different guys their reps in on the ice. Maybe get a feel about, maybe, I know Chris was talking about this before, maybe changing some of the lineups, especially for the power plays and stuff like that. I guess just testing the waters for the beginning of the season, Yurika and Chris. And then midway to the end, just kind of having a firm grasp of, what us as in the Lightning, how we plan to play, how we going to kind of approach different opponents, especially since the fact that we're playing the same ones over and over again. And how are we going to take advantage of that to, succeed, go into the playoffs, do well, and hey, win another cup.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the way that the schedule works is basically the Lightning have a game every other day.
Right.
Now, by the time we talk next week, the Lightning would have played the Blackhawks. They start the season on Wednesday at home against the Blackhawks, and then they play the Blackhawks again on Friday. And so it is kind of these two games at a time, really. They're playing the Blackhawks twice, then they play the Stars twice, then they play the Blue Jackets twice, then they play the Hurricanes twice. So it's these not even home and home. It's just these you go somewhere, play two games over 4 days, or 2 games over 3 days, and then you go away. It's definitely going to be weird. Now, forecasting again, Chris. Forecasting when it gets time for playoff time, what effect do you think it's going to have when, you only have to be in the top 4 of the Discover NHL Central Division to go to the playoffs? Once we get there, if we get there, you've played all these teams basically in these little mini series the whole year. What effect do you think that's going to have on the playoffs this year?
I think it'll be huge, because I think that's going to make it more competitive. You're going to know your opponent better than you normally would. You're going to sit here and play them that many times over and over, and then you're going to meet them in the playoffs, and you're like, all right, well, we've already played these guys 7 times this year. Let's scout them up and see what we can do different. Are you gonna have to throw a curveball in there and maybe mix up the lines a little bit? Do you take that chance? Do you try to throw them off with a line change or mixing a guy in here and there? Now, if Cooch comes back in the playoffs, which they're saying, obviously that's going to be huge. Is Cooch going to come back slow? Is he going to come back ready to go? Are you going to put Cooch in for someone who's had an excellent season and then move the lines around more and mess up chemistry? We all know how chemistry is come playoff time with lines. Obviously, you don't not play Cooch if he's healthy, right? But I'm just saying in when you mess with lines sometimes and you take out players who are hot or they're gelling together for this short season, sometimes that can have an effect more than you think than just being like, oh, hey, Cooch is back. Let's plug him in line 1 and let's move Stamkos back to line 2 or, whatever. But I do think it could have an impact in a bad way. But I still think, obviously, Cooch coming back is huge in the fact that we would need him come playoff time. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying there is times when lines being messed with has caused a little riffle in the in the team come playoff time.
And I guess maybe the last question I'll ask you here is, are there maybe some guys that we haven't been talking about a lot that you think might be surprisingly integral to a successful season? Someone at the end of the bench or something like that.
I think who I think or who I think like is going to have a good year. You mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like not like a dark horse, but someone that's like he's due.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good way. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Coleman.
Okay.
We got him in that trade last year from New Jersey. I think he's going to step up and play a big role.
You're talking
forward. Blake Coleman.
Blake Coleman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blake Coleman. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to be, sneaky. I think it's his time to step up. He obviously came through middle of the season last year, but he played a huge role for us. Penalty killing. He's a good two-way forward, or he's a center, I should say, but he's still a good two-way guy. He'll hit. He'll get in there. He'll get dirty if he needs to. We saw the big goal he had. So I'm gonna roll with him, and I also think that I think Joseph has a better year. We re-signed him to that little contract, but I know he played a little bit for us. Matthew Joseph, I'm sorry, he played a little bit for us. He had some turnovers, some dumb penalties, but he's got the speed, he's got the talent. It's there, so I can see him coming off the bench and having some, couple clutch goals or couple clutch assists. Even a turnover here and there that might just switch the momentum of a game. But I overall, I would say I think Coleman. We also had Gaudreau last year from San Jose. He played really well defensively. Now, Gaudreau did have a lot of penalty minutes last year. He led the team, unfortunately. But I think him on the defensive side of the PK, I think he's huge too. So I'm gonna go with Coleman, I think. But I think it's going to be an overall a team effort, especially with Cooch being out, because I do think you're going to see a lot of different lines. I think it's going to start off, here's a line here and there, but like I said, if we're hovering at 5-5, a 7-7, 7-9, something like that, you might see Cooper be like, all right, let's get this guy in there, let's get him some time, let's see what XYZ can do over ZAB, and it's. I think you're going to see a little mixture to start the season just because Cooch being out. I don't think we're going to specifically stay with the same 4 lines right away.
Well, good. I'm glad you were able to give us your predictions of us going 56-0 this year.
Absolutely.
It was phenomenal. You already said, Stammer's got 1 million points in the first week alone. No, it's good because I think you guys, Musaab and you both kind of brought up good points about. We kind of need to sit back and see what's what. There's a lot of change this year, and so there could be a lot of good things like, hey, continuity, and we're starting off strong, and we all know what's going on. But also, they could be tired. They could be there's no preseason. There could be some rust to work out. But all in all, I think we're all just excited to have hockey back. This is an absolute 5-star hockey town, and I know that all of the people listening to this and everyone's just ready to put on that Bolts gear. And unfortunately, we're not being able to go to the games, but I know the best TV ratings in the whole area are going to be these Lightning games every other night. So with that said, I mean that's pretty much all I've got for the show this week here. It's an exciting time. Musaab, you brought up a lot of points and excitement about why the Bucs should beat the Washington football team. And Chris, you're getting me excited with all these guys, like these young guys that we're bringing up, and a guy like Blake Coleman, and you're hyped on Vasilevsky, and that just gets me excited. So
if I can too, I'm gonna throw out a prediction. I'm gonna
here we go.
I'm gonna go. I think the first game against Chicago is going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be a little sloppy, little rust, just getting the kinks out.
All right.
So I'm gonna go 5-3 Lightning.
Okay, 5-3. Just bring it. They're bringing the guns out.
I do. I'm going 5-3. Just wanted to get that prediction in there.
No,
before we
good.
End the show. You know what I mean?
No, you're good, man. I dig it. That's what we do here. Bold predictions and score predictions. So.
And if I can, I'm gonna throw in a crazy stat right here.
Oh no!
So takeaway giveaway. I don't know if a lot of people know this. Takeaway giveaway stat. The Lightning were third in the league with 1.01. Now, that might be an underrated stat. The only two teams ahead of us were the Avalanche and the Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights had a 1.13. So, I mean, your takeaway giveaway, when you're averaging that, a 1.01, that's a big stat that a lot of people probably misread or don't even look at, So, I think that's a good key stat right there. We keep that up, the takeaway giveaway ratio.
Is that because the Lightning have been playing fast? I mean, they play pretty good, stick and poke defense, and they're really good in transition,
Yeah, we're a fast team. It's all about getting the forecheck going in the zone, and we play that chip and chase style where it's chipping it from the blue line and going after it because we got the speed to get there, and then we're bumping against the boards and passing it around and getting your D moving and going from there.
Now I've said my piece. Musaab, anything for us before we get out of here?
Nothing really. As always, it's a pleasure, Yurika and Chris, and shout out to our listeners for checking up on us every week with our podcast. We're always hoping for the best. Hopefully, next week and the week after that, we got a lot of good things to talk about with our Bucs and Lightning. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. And we're excited for you taking your time out of your day to listen to our awesome little podcast here. If you could do one thing, I'm just asking you, if you can give us a like and subscribe on whatever platform you are hearing our beautiful voices. Please remember, if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, YouTube, you name it, there's a little like button, and if you can, just subscribe. That way you get our beautiful content in your inbox exactly when we upload it. You can also follow us at RBLR Sports on all forms of social media. We're going to try to come up with cool content for each individual social media space. There's some things that work better than others for different formats, and we definitely want to have some cool content. So if you follow us on all forms of social media at RBLR Sports. Also, we have a voicemail line. If you want to drop us a voicemail, leave it under a minute. We will listen to your questions, and we like to take those questions and integrate those into what I'm asking Musaab, what I'm asking Chris about the Bucs and the Lightning and things like that. So if you leave us a voicemail under a minute, we will pick those questions, and it will inform our podcast here. That number is 813-778-5280. That's 813-778-5280. Drop us a voicemail. Please leave it under a minute, and we will take your questions into consideration when we're putting these on the podcast, man. So, fellas, Chris, Musaab, we're gonna take off here. Any last lines for us before we get out of here, Chris?
Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Big game Saturday. Go Bucs. We are 13 years, it's that time. It's that time for Brady to lead us.
Musaab, you get the last line, man. Send us home.
with everything that's happened in the past in 2020 and with everything that's going on so far in 2021, a Bucs win would be real nice. A few Bucs wins in the future would be real nice. That take us to the Super Bowl. But I'm taking it game by game. So, I would be really appreciative of a nice solid win against the Washington football team.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, we will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.